Hey y'all, Texas Garden Guy here, and today we were on a mission to save some giant plumerias. I made a new friend. She came to the spring fling last weekend, and she said this elderly woman was selling her house down the road from her. She had a bunch of plumerias that were like 10, 20 years old in their backyard that she wasn't going to be able to take with her. And so she said, if you want these plumerias, come pick them up before the freeze. Come dig them up. And so that's what they did. Her and her kids, her high school kids, went down to the lady's house and they dug up like 20 of these giant plumeria trees. So she stored them in her garage all winter long, and they went dormant. They dropped their leaves and did just fine. Most of them stored really well. And she invited me over there today to show her how to prune them properly and get them situated, because she actually posted on Facebook, hey, free plumeria cuttings. Come pick them up, first come, first serve. And so she invited me over to prune them up and get them ready for everybody to come pick them up tomorrow morning, which is an awesome Easter present for anybody looking to get into tropical plumerias, you know, so it's awesome. All right, so we're over here at Bethany's house. She came over to Fred Reyes and saw me last weekend, and she said she had a bunch of freaking plumerias in her front yard.
Yeah, I think it was late December.
Yeah.
She was getting ready to put her house on the market, and she didn't want to lose these. Nobody was living at the house, and she said, hey, it's gonna freeze in 2 hours. If you can get them out, do it. So
That's
got
so
some
cool.
of my Katie high school kids. We jumped out, got them within 2 hours, and shoved them all in our garage.
This is incredible. And some of these plumerias, I mean, that's 2 or 3 inches thick. I mean, that is huge. A bunch of different varieties. So we're going through and we're going to cut them up and get them segmented, and probably what, like 18 to 24 inches, you know, for people to take home and get started in their own garden. So these are really cool.
Yeah, we've got 50 people coming tomorrow morning.
50 people. You got like a garage sale set up already, ready for them. So this is a big, I mean, this is like an 8-foot plumeria right here. And what you want to do when you're pruning these or cutting these back, you want to leave some room for dieback. So this one, it broke off. That's probably enough for a little bit of dieback. You see how it's healing? Whenever it heals, it's going to shrink up like a scab. So whenever I'm making my pruning on this, I'm cutting back and leaving like 6 inches or so, leave a little bit. And everywhere you cut, it's going to split off. If you make a cut on a plumeria, it's going to grow at least 2 or 3 more. So this was cut at one point, and then 4 of these little nodules came up. So anytime you're cutting or pruning on your plumeria, you want to leave some room for dieback. I wouldn't cut them any shorter than a foot long. That way you can have enough to put some below the soil, have some on top. But leave that room for dieback. It's going to shrink up and die back a little bit.
So are these all off of that same plant?
Yeah, this is all. So this came off of here. This was one that broke off, I believe. And then all of these right here are probably 2 foot, 18 inches, 2 foot. You see how they have those 3 nodules? There was a cut at one point done right there, and it's popping up. So every time you cut it, it's going to split. So it's always a good thing to prune your plumeria. So go ahead and cut this one. I got my power pruners here. Should we go ahead and cut this one big, like right here?
Yeah, go ahead.
So hopefully these are strong enough. These are lifesaver. I love these things.
And this one seems to be really woody. Is
Yes.
is that normal, or?
I've never seen them this big.
Okay.
I've never seen this big. I've never seen this big either. We'll see them more commonly this large in places like Hawaii, Florida, where they don't freeze. They leave them in the ground all year round. Places like Houston, people are ripping them up or putting them in containers, and then they're pruning them. So I just personally never seen them this thick. But she actually let me pick a couple that I wanted to keep. And check this out. I mean, I don't know if y'all can tell how big this plumeria is. Like, this is insane. This is easily a 10, 15-year-old plumeria. She has some of the names written on them. I believe this one's called, God, it's hard to read. Can't even see it. Anyway, I'm not too worried about it. Regardless, it's gonna do amazing. One thing you need to know about plumerias is that when you prune them off, if they're gonna callus over and they're gonna split. So pretty much anywhere you make a cut, you're gonna get 2 to 3 branches growing out of it. So this is just outstanding, and I thank you so much, Bethany, for hooking me up and giving me. Yeah, I mean, look at the bark. I mean, this is growing. Yeah, this bark is growing like an ash tree on this plumeria. I've never seen one like this. I mean, you can, it's nuts. Yeah, I mean, it's growing like a pine tree. I mean, and you can see another plumeria as in comparison. I got one right over here. So this is actually a like 3-year-old plumeria that I got from my friend Danita, who works in Moody Garden. And you can tell the difference between the bark. I mean, come closer. You'll see like that's new bark and this is old bark. I mean, this is insane. I was told from Bethany that the lady never pulled them up out of the ground ever. She left them in the ground, and her husband built a greenhouse over them every year. So like that's why they've grown crazy. But look at the roots. They don't have giant root systems. They don't have giant roots. So this is a 10 or 20-year-old plumeria, and it doesn't have a giant root system. So today we're gonna be, hold on a second. I want to drop this. Hold this for a second. So today, I mean, we got a bunch of these. So we got a bunch of them. She gave me pretty much first pick of what I wanted. This one's called a Bali Palace. I mean, that one's gonna be awesome, I'm sure. Just by the name, it sounds awesome. And they got some smaller ones, but I really wanted the bottom ones that had the roots already growing, just so that when I planted them, they'd already kind of be anchored down a little bit. So, but with this one, oh God, I don't know. So for this one, just because it's so top heavy, we're gonna go with this 15-gallon nursery pot, and we're probably gonna tuck it away so you don't even see the bottom. It's gonna be back over here in my corner, I think. You only see the top. But let's go ahead and get this kind of filled with soil, and I'll show you how we're gonna plant this. As usual, we're gonna be using Landscaper's Pride, Gardener's Magic. This is my go-to blend of soil. We're not gonna fill this up all the way. We're just gonna fill it up maybe a third of the way up. Like I said in my last video when we planted the other plumerias, you want really good drainage. You don't want too much water sitting up against the roots and rotting these plants out. So we'll go ahead and I actually spilt a whole thing of Nelson Plant Food Genesis, and I threw it in a bucket. And so I got it in a bucket right here. So we're just gonna mix it in here. You don't need like a rooting hormone or anything to get plumerias rooted, but this is Nelson Plant Food Genesis. It just helps give the plant like a little bit of a head start, like a little bit of a boost when it's waking up. So right now these are dormant. These are dormant. The one that I pulled out of my greenhouse over here, it actually never went dormant because it was in my greenhouse all winter long. This is just, I can't get over how big this is. I mean, this is over 5 foot tall, and it's as thick as my arm. Like, this tree is insane. Let me turn it so y'all can see this. I mean, I've never seen a plumeria outside of like Hawaii or Thailand where nothing freezes, you know, maybe even Florida, that don't get, like, this is crazy. This is insane. So we'll go ahead and see if I can juggle this. I'm gonna fill this up while I hold it up. I'll kind of just add some more soil and go around a circle. And just one bag kind of did it. Maybe needed a little bit more. So what do you need to know about plumerias? Plumerias are tropical plants. They make leis, like primarily what you see like Hawaiian leis are made out of plumerias. Out of plumeria flowers. Contrary to what you might think, plumerias are actually native to Mexico. They're not native to like Malaysia or Thailand or wherever. They're native to Mexico. So these are really, really cool. A lot of people grow these in their flower beds. You can literally put them in the ground, plant them, and then before frost, you can just go yank them up out of the ground. And then a lot of people hang them upside down in their garage, and they do just fine. And in the spring, after the last frost, they go plant them again. But for me, I keep mine in pots over winter, and I put them in my greenhouse so they never actually go to sleep. They keep their foliage, but they don't bloom in the greenhouse. They're only going to bloom. They're going to start blooming here fairly soon, and then they go all the way to like midsummer when it gets too hot. They like full sun, but not Texas full sun. Texas full sun, when it's like 100% humidity and 105 degrees outside, they start dropping their leaves. So around June, July, August, I go ahead and put them like over here in my shade cloth area to where they get a little bit of a break from the sun, because at that point you can't water them enough. Like they just can't handle it. So full sun doesn't always mean Texas full sun. Fertilizing, we're not going to fertilize this just yet. This has been dormant all winter long. So we're going to wait till this wakes up. Once this wakes up, starts putting off blooms, we're going to see stuff start to split off and bud off these ends. When we start seeing new leaves, that's when we're going to put some Nelson plumeria food out for it. But for now, we got that transplant mix in here. It's going to kind of help wake it up. We're going to water it. It hasn't been watered in 3 months. And whenever we were cutting these, they were dripping juices. And that's how you know they're alive still. If it's green on the end and not black or not rotten or squishy, that's how you know it's still alive. Whenever we were cutting these, we're cutting tips off, cutting ends off, and it was just flowing with fluids, like with white latex mix. So I think this is okay. I might add a little bit more just to kind of help anchor it, but this is pretty top heavy and it's already pretty well anchored in here. I'll add a little bit more. And yes, you can grow these in containers. You can keep them in containers for a long time. You saw how big the roots were. They weren't that big. So you can keep these in containers for a long, long time, gradually up potting them, you know, or you can just put them in the ground. One day, when I don't live in HOA hell, I will start putting things in the ground in the front yard. Like I would love to just go stick this in my flower bed. How cool would that be if I could just go stick this in my flower bed every spring? But I can't because I live in HOA. Ooh. All right, so we got this planted. I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit more of this Genesis around just to help it out. We'll get this watered in. I don't know where we're gonna put this exactly. It's a lot more sturdier than I thought. I thought I was gonna stake this up like immediately. And it's pretty sturdy. Come feel it. Like, it's not that top heavy. Like it's moving, like the pot is moving with it. It's in there. I think what helps it is that it has the bottom of the roots kind of help anchor it down. But let's set this off the side for now and we'll do one of the smaller ones. I always keep all my nursery pots. Anytime I buy a tree or whatever, I keep all my pots. And this is where that comes in handy. That was a 15-gallon, kind of a squatty pot. And this one's more of a tall pot. So we'll go ahead and we'll do like the second biggest one, which, like I said, I picked the ones she had with like the anchor, the roots down at the bottom. Like, look at this one. I mean, it is so insane. These roots are crazy. And then whenever we cut it off, like it was just flowing white sap. Yeah, it's still pretty wet. But everywhere we cut, it's gonna grow like 3 to 4 little fingers out and produce flowers. I'm gonna add a little bit more soil in here. We're kind of going biggest to smallest right now. Calling this the Great Plumeria Rescue. A little bit of that Genesis to go on the bottom. I mean, look at this. This looks like something they put like in those cages that has like the hawks and stuff in it, like where they perch on. That's just freaking beautiful. I'm so excited for this. I don't know all the colors of these. She did have like a brief description on some of them. This is a Bali Palace. I don't know what that means. I can probably Google it. I bet it has a little bit of a description. But we'll get this situated. I'm tired. It's been a long day. I get a day off tomorrow. I get to be Uncle Destin tomorrow. Most days I'm just Texas garden guy. Back tomorrow I get to be Uncle Destin. That's my favorite thing I get to be. This one needs a little bit more. We'll add it here in a bit. But yeah, look at this. I mean, check it out. How awesome. Yeah, how awesome is this? So beautiful. I'm just imagining all the blooms we're going to get off this. This is one of the thicker little chunky boys we got right here. One thing I get in my videos a lot of comments about is are these pet friendly? Are these kid friendly? No. These are not kid friendly. They're not pet friendly, unless, I mean, as long as they're not eating them, they're fine. You know, as long as they don't go try to eat them, they'll be fine. But if you were to eat a part of this, the leaf or the flower or the seed pod, they can make you very sick. So I would be very careful around these, around Frangipanis, Plumerias. Be very careful around them if you have children and dogs and cats and stuff like that. Or just get a smarter dog. You know, that's usually my go-to response. If someone says, "Hey, is it pet safe?" No, but just get a smarter dog. But my dog's pretty smart, and he was just sniffing around trying to run off with one of these sticks. So I should not be saying that anymore. This one right here, let me get my bag of soil opened up. This one right here is actually a mystery. We got a question mark on it. I got a couple of mystery, but I think we're going to call this one the Bethany, because Bethany gave me all these Plumeria cuttings. So this will be the Bethany Plumeria. And that's really cool because on some of these Plumerias, the older lady that gave her the cuttings named a bunch of the Plumerias after the people that brought her cuttings. And so that's really, really neat. So you don't always have the name for something, but when you get it, you can call it whatever you want. After you buy it, you can call it whatever you want. That's my opinion. So this will be the Bethany Plumeria. Thank you, Bethany. I need my scoop. Fill this 5-gallon pot just a hair. We got our pot. I'm gonna put some more soil in here. Put a little bit of that Nelson Plant Food Genesis down in there. We'll situate our pot, or situate our rooted cutting. Since it's got roots in it already. And then, where's my shovel? We'll just fill it up. Want to come in here? I need a bigger scoop. Got my bigger scoop now. What's the scoop? Big scoop, that's what's up. That's what the scoop is. Make sure you pack these in. They will be a little top heavy. That's why I go for like more of a stouter pot, so that hopefully they won't fall over. The cool thing about these, and the lady was telling me, the Bethany was telling me about the older lady, is that when a piece would fall off, she would just stick it back in the ground. So like that's how you just get more and more. Now I do say, I recommend that if something falls off yours, if you cut a piece off, like say you got this big one back here that I haven't planted yet. So this one doesn't have the roots on the bottom. This one was cut off. I would let this scab over a little bit before you plant it. So like the end is still a little wet, a little green. We'll let this one sit for a couple days before we plant it. Just imagine sticking like your elbow into like the soil after you got like a cut or something on it. You're just asking for an infection or some kind of disease. So for the ones that are cut, they're sliced, we're gonna let them scab over before we put them in the soil or introduce or water them or any of that stuff. This will just sit off to the side and chill until it's scabbed over. All right, it's packed in. Like I said, we're not gonna fertilize any of this stuff with Nelson Plumeria food until they start putting on leaves, till they start waking up from the winter. All right, y'all, as you can see, we still have a lot of potting up to do. I'm gonna go ahead and get that done off camera. But if you have any questions, tips, anything you wanna put down in the comment section below, let me know. And make sure you subscribe to the Texas Garden Guide channel and follow me on Instagram. See y'all in the next video.